My name's Harrison Schoen. This is Cole Evans from Berg Peaks, Head of Research and Development. Basically, we're putting the whole Berg Peaks package on the Cayenne, consisting of how much lift?
2.5-inch air and suspension lift on this.
With the Berg Peaks control arms, which are fully sealed units, and they're heavy, so you know they're good.
We're just gonna take the suspension setup that's out of this car out today, and we're gonna be putting our full 2.5-inch airlift suspension kit, which lowers the effective spring rate of the shock, and we actually add air volume to it, so it's a nice cushy ride. We're adding our Berg Peaks adjustable upper control arms that are fully sealed, camber adjustable, and serviceable. And then we're gonna be putting in our Berg Peaks level links that are mimicking OEM. And all of that together in harmony gives you one really good suspension setup on an air car.
Right now, what I'm dealing with is I kind of have some clunks and stuff going around different parts of the car, maybe from like worn out shock top mounts or rubber bushings. So we're changing all of that. We're going with new OEM components too in the places that are needed along with the lift kit. So afterwards, I should have a clunkless car, clunk free, and it'll work just perfectly like it was designed by Porsche. I hope, at least.
No, it will. Yeah,
It will.
We designed these suspension components to meet or exceed OEM specifications. So how it works in the factory, you retain all that functionality. Every single level works in the car. We don't have axle issues. You know, it just works. Flat out works.
So I'm going to start unboxing the Berg kit. Cole here is going to walk us through what's in the kit, what we're pulling out of here. We've got some staples, so we have to rip it open.
It's packed with love.
And unpacked with love. Nice little keychain. And they show you the shop that all this stuff is prepared in. Some stickers.
Yeah, so this is gonna be kind of the main component of the lift kit. These are the actual spacers. So they're billet aluminum machined, they're anodized coated, and kind of the engineering behind this. So we mimic the factory channel of an OEM O-ring. So in the kit, when we go further down, it comes with all of the O-rings to reseal the top hat of the strut. Now,
What are these?
those are the air volumetric spacers. So we have to mimic the top of the cavity of the control, like the strut plate. So the strut mount sits on top of the shock, and that will lightly contact the top hat. So we designed these pucks to not only give us extra air volume that we can use, but also as a safety feature. So this is domed, so if the case of the strut mount ever failing, it won't just go directly through
To the aluminum top hat kind of?
Correct, yes. It won't just go straight there and have 2 inches of travel. So this actually gives us a safety barrier between.
And these are like 3D printed carbon stuff?
They're
right?
carbon reinforced polymer, yeah.
Okay, sick. So they're heavy duty, durable.
We've put them in a press and put a ton of strength on them.
A literal ton, or how much?
I forget the actual number, but it was to the point where I was like, holy cow, that is strong.
Okay, cool. Also, previous experience, I've hit a bump really hard while on this lift kit, or just an air car in general. If you get a leak from your suspension, there's a possibility it's just old O-rings that air is now seeping past. So replace these even if you aren't going to get a lift kit.
Yeah, and that's why we engineered it to be that way. Since you're taking the strut apart, you're going to reseal it already while you're there. So you're doing two things. You're doing preventative maintenance, and you're upgrading the shock assembly itself.
What are these?
Those are the level link adapter brackets. We designed this kit to trick the system a little differently. Other lift kits on the market use adjustable level links. What we've found with those adjustable level links, not only are sometimes they not locked down and can loosen and change from side to side, which can give you error codes, faults, all that stuff, they're not sealed. They're not a sealed ball joint. So when we have an unsealed ball joint, we can have binding to occur, gunk to get in there, and we've seen level arm breakage from that. Another reason why we went this way over an adjustable end link is because we keep the rod ratio correct. So when we install everything, I'll show you what I'm talking about rod ratio wise, but essentially if you go too short on the level link, you'll throw the arm sweep off, and as soon as it gets to one point, it'll peak out and snap off the rod.
Yeah, because it can no longer articulate and
It
go
can-
back in
yep.
the motion that it's supposed to.
Correct. And we keep the rod ratio correct. We just relocate the position of that level arm in that rod sweep, so it still works how it should.
Sweet. So we've got 8 subframe pucks. These, what do they do?
So the subframe spacers, for the added lift that we add to this kit,
Oh, these are spacers.
they're subframe spacers,
Got it.
correct, yes. So they will space down the subframe a 1/2 inch. That's the max we'll ever do with any lift kit. Above that, we've seen subframe bolts bend, the subframe shifts, and all of our handling characteristics that we are known for a Porsche are lost. So what's also cool about this subframe spacer is that it's got an integrated subframe centering sleeve in the actual spacer itself. So no need to do 2 pieces. It not only spaces a subframe, but it'll keep it centered and keep it from shifting.
Existing issue, if you use your car enough off-road and don't really maintain or look after it, your subframe bushings can fail in a way that your subframe falls out from underneath the car. Does this hold the subframe in?
So there is another design feature incorporated in that, which I'm glad you brought up. This puck itself has the same outer dimensions of a factory subframe bushing, and we call that a thrust surface. So I brought a subframe bushing with me, a brand new one, to show you the design features of that. But that is made so when the subframe's in the car, it normally will flex, and it will flex upwards and downwards. Most of the time, it'll flex upwards. And if we don't have the full bushing supported, it will put excessive wear on the subframe bushing itself, and eventually will cause the subframe bushing to tear and fall out of the car.
Yeah.
So we designed that thrust surface to be the same outer diameter of that bushing to reduce wear and make it so it's the same as OEM.
Okay, that's good. That's definitely a nice feature to have. And the centering sleeve is nice because other centering sleeves go into steel, and then if you don't use enough anti-seize, they'll get stuck in there. But this is nice to have. This is good in one solid piece. It'll be easy to take out.
2 birds with 1 stone.
Nice. We've got Porsche parts. What are they?
So that's an option when you order our lift kit. You can spec to order it with the factory strut mounts. When we install this lift kit, we disassemble the strut to a point where the factory strut mounts are exposed and only hold on by 1 nut. And we recommend highly every time, if you haven't replaced your strut mounts, to do them there. We've seen pretty much in every car that hasn't been serviced or taken apart, that either the subframe mounts have cracks in them and are starting to tear, or we've seen complete failure where the center section metal bonded is separated and causes a lot of clunks, and handling characteristics are just not where they need to be.
And this bushing is going inside of the lift kit, right?
Correct, yes.
That's all that's in the box?
That is all in this box.
Nice. Good. Well, now we can get started on taking the car apart.
So we're pulling out the front shocks of this car, strut shocks, air struts out of this vehicle right now. Couple tips that I like to do: I'll loosen this axle nut and actually push the CV in. I'll eventually take this off completely when I'm disassembling that, but that gives us more throw out this way, so we're not getting close to the bag itself, like puncturing it or anything. There's a T30 here I take off, and that gives us even more room to swing this whole assembly out, so we can drop this strut a lot easier. So here we have the strut with the top plate pulled off of it. You can see on kind of the ridge here, there's this crack that goes all the way around. And if I flex it, you can see it a little bit more. So this hasn't torn all the way through, but it's on its way to doing that. And if we left this in here, you know, maybe it'd been 20,000 miles, but...
The car has 103,000 miles too.
Car has 103,000 miles. We've seen failure anywhere from 70,000 miles. I've seen one completely separated. So we're gonna replace these strut mounts. We have brand new OEM ones, and then we're gonna put our lift kit in and put it back in the car. So we have the lift kit in, we have the control arms in, and we have all the linkages in as well. So this is kind of a demonstration how the sweep of this works. So this bracket slides onto this, and there's a pin that goes through it. So this is now a piece of this. This is where we bolt the level link to. And the reason we did it this way is because now when I'm doing a full sweep, there is no binding, and it's in the complete rod ratio. The rod ratio is right, so we're not gonna have any issue with snapping off arms or binding. So we got this all assembled. We're gonna throw it in the car and then move off to the rear.
We'll get it the rest of the way with
That's
the bolt.
good. Yep. So it is way past my bedtime, but we're getting this all done. So we installed the lift kit in the rear of this. When we install the lift kit in the back, we do have to notch this basket to make the clearance for the air check valve, because we did drop it down a bit. So this is all relocated we have to take about 20 millimeters off of that. And then once that's cleared and we put our lift kit in, we're gonna get it back in the car, bolt everything up, air up the suspension, check our ride heights. Sometimes we do have to do a calibration based if the car has maybe like a bent sensor bracket or if it's been messed with before. So we brought all the tools to do that. I have PWiz1, I have Durametric. Usually Durametric is the easiest to do the calibration with. So if you can get your hands on a cable or have a shop do it for you, if you do need to adjust it, then that's the best tool that I've found to use. So let's get this all back in the car, put it in, and let's get it on the ground and calibration.
Then we're gonna be able to call it a night and go to sleep. Cole's sleeping in my rooftop tent on the Pink Pig in the warehouse.
I'm tired.
Yeah, it's been a longer day than we expected, but not terrible. It's about 4 a.m. and we have finally finished the lift install. We're gonna do the adaptation, or no, we're gonna just check the car out with PWiz tomorrow morning and clean up our mess because PWiz there, all the engine plastic still, table, wheel, and then all this junk. So we're gonna worry about that in the morning after we get even just a lick of sleep. Plus this sawdust was not from my car. My car does not leak a bit. Cole's getting ready to sleep in the rooftop tent with his girlfriend. And yeah, we're calling it a night here. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll get some in-car footage tomorrow and my reaction of actually driving it around. You're dead.
Cold proved.
Cold proved.
No, the lift kit came out great. You know,
we don't know that it came out great yet, but it all went together great.
I mean, I know it came out great. I mean, the proof's in the pudding. We put everything in, and our ride heights were spot on. So
Sick.
I'm happy.
Yeah, ride height at all 4 corners matched. So, or 21 and then 21.5, so 0.5 inch rake in the back, which is like what you want.
Well,
So
factory is an inch rake, and we reduced that to half an inch.
Nice.
We still want rake on the car, so it gives us an aerodynamic wedge. You can, if you want, run it squared. You just run a little less height in either the front or rear.
Nice.
But we recommend setting it up the way we set it up,
Yeah.
which when we installed this,
It's not like you guys have adjustment in the links too. So
no, you don't.
yeah.
But
Just-
you can do you can adjust in calibration. But what we have it set up is from center of wheel to fender is about 21 inches in the front, center of the wheel to fender.
And that's the high setting or mid setting?
That's normal.
Normal?
Yeah, mid.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Sweet. We'll update you guys tomorrow when we get a ride along.